Marshall in the middle.
I'm standing at parade rest right now. I got Sergeant Major retired Michael Campbell. He is right here with me. We got a little bit of technical difficulties worked through. We're looking good right now, sounding good. I can't
Yes.
wait to tell some stories. Where are you from?
Okay, I grew up in North Carolina, actually. A little small farming town in Benson.
Ah, Benson, North Carolina. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So what year were you born?
I was born in 67.
Oh yeah, so you're just a little couple years older than I am.
I know. And
What was your
I was looking at that Will. I'm going, I don't know. I'm older than Will. I don't know if he's eligible to do my interview.
right? I mean, hey, you gotta have a little bit of wisdom before you can go ask all these crazy ass questions we're gonna be
Hey,
talking about.
and I'm open up to anything you want to talk about.
I love it. I love it. So what was it like as a kid in Benson, North Carolina? Were you running the streets? Did you have a bicycle? Were you a good student? Were you chasing the girls around, getting in trouble? What were you doing?
Well, I mean, it's so funny you say that. When I was 12 years old, all my friends, because it was a tobacco farmer town, that's everybody made the money. We cropped tobacco. We were in the fields, believe
Okay.
it or not. But it was all my friends. We got paid under the table. You know, here I am, 12 years old. At the end, we got paid at the end of every week, and they're gonna give me an envelope with $100 in it. At 12 years old, think about it.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. But I grew up. It was a beautiful place to grow up. I grew up on a dirt road. There was a farming pond right down from my house where I go fish all the time. I went hunting and all that good stuff. Yeah, I would ride my bike uptown. If you want to call my town an uptown, but it was a town. And when I got to high school, again, everybody knew everybody. But I was like a wrestling phenomenon. I won 2 state championships back to back. Got a full ride to NC State University. I went there, and after 2 years of being in college, they took the fun out of my sport because wrestling does not bring money into the school. But
Right.
not like basketball or football or baseball, something like that. So they act like they own you. And I said, "I'm to hell with this." So I enlisted. And this is exactly what I told my recruiter, Will. He says, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to jump out of planes and kill people." That's exactly what I told him. He looked at me and he said, "You need to be a paratrooper." And that's when it started.
Amen.
Yes,
Amen.
sir. So I went through airborne. I went through OSAT, basic track infantry. Went to airborne school, of course, and it's 1989. And I'd only been in division 8 months. And I think all command sergeant majors, at least sergeant majors, have 2 wives. So, so my first wife was pregnant with my son, and we knew Panama was starting to heat up, so we were training for it. We were
Right.
doing battalion and brigade mass attacks all over the place. Just prep and with rucks that weighed like 70 pounds strapped to your waist. It's just it was just, and I was a saw gunner, so I had that big thing on my side. And I'm
Wow.
only 5'4", you know. And so we knew Panama was getting hot, and my son was born on December 19th. We jumped in on December 20th. So I'm at the hospital about to take my wife home with my newborn son. And my squad leader comes running in there and he goes, he says, "Campbell, we got to go." I said, "What's up?" He said, "Hey, we've been alerted for Panama. We got to go." And I looked at my wife, and this E4 nurse or nursing assistant comes in. And she goes, "You don't have to go. You know that, right? I can stop them from taking you." And I said, "You ain't stopping shit. I'm a paratrooper, okay? I'll be back. I'll be back soon enough. I'll be good. I'm not going to miss this combat deployment. You out of your damn mind? I trained freaking like crazy forever." So I reached in my pocket and I had like $17. And I handed it to her. There you go. That's all I got. All I can tell you is watch the news, but I got to go. And I left. I said, but my baby brother was coming from college to see his new nephew. I told her, I said, just tell my baby brother he's got to take you home because I ain't going to be available. Now, I was in civilian clothes, so I had to pull a uniform out of my A bag. So, got to the unit, drew my weapon, got BDUs on and stuff. We went to the holding area and we prepped for the jump into Panama. And on December 20th, that's exactly what we did.
Amen.
Yes, sir. 500-foot drop. You want to see something crazy? Found my jump log.
Oh, cool, man.
Watch this, though. Ready?
Yeah.
This is the backside.
I love it.
What is this one? Yep, same. This is another one. There's the front. My back. There's the front. Let's see what this one is. Front. What is this one? That's another front. Actually, yeah. I got like 3 more pages of this damn thing.
I love it. How many jumps you got on the log?
1.
You only got 1 log jump?
No, I've got 1 combat jump.
Oh, 1 combat jump.
I've got 127 practices, but
I love it.
I got 1 jump.
I love it. I love that attitude. That's
Oh hell yeah! You know, it just grew in the community that hey, we got a jump star. You know, we thought we were big time because it was First Brigade that led the invasion,
right.
and I was in First Battalion of the 504th Bravo Company. So we did the invasion. You know, we came back, got our CRBs, combat jump star, all that crap. 8 months later, go for it. With Bravo Company, first deal for what did they go for? Came back, and I was at E4 when we went to go for, and they were like, "Hey, on the plane going back, they said, hey, study. You're going to E5 order when we get back." I was like, "Okay." Studied, made E5, and off to Ranger School I went once I made E5. Went to Ranger School, got my Ranger tab. Now it's time for my enlistment to come up, and I went to career counselor said, "Hey, what do you want to do? You gonna get out? You gonna stay in?" I said, "No, I'm gonna stay in. I got my Ranger tab, been to combat twice, got a combat jump star. Why let this go? You know why?"
Yeah.
So I got assigned to Italy. That is the airborne assignment everybody wants.
Right.
I mean, everybody in Ranger Battalion knows they got to leave the unit and come back at some point. They got to get an overseas assignment.
Right.
They want Italy. Well, I was fortunate. I got Italy, got a nice little Ranger bonus, and I was in Italy for three years. And while I was in Italy, we went to Bosnia, Rwanda, and Liberia. So we did that. And still jump status. Everything I'm doing up to this point, I'm still jump status. And see, Bravo Company, I was a team leader when I left. And Italy, I was a squad leader, weapon squad leader, and platoon sergeant. When I was in Italy, that's when I became a jump master. The MTT from Benning came over, and I did my that's where I did my jump master training.
Amen.
So when my time was up, I came back to Bragg, and they sent me to Charlie Bravo Company, 2nd E05. Had a platoon there. We were called the Muldoons. And this is where my jump master career really took off. Because I was a very confident jump master, Will. Very confident. And I knew I had to instill that confidence in my stick, in my jumpers.
Right.
Because if they looked at me like I wasn't confident, then they're not going to be confident in what they're about to do. So I embraced how important that job was. So I was sitting there as 2nd E05 every time. Like, see, my name, everybody up and down the street knew my name. Everybody up and down the street knew Sergeant Campbell. They knew that this guy is a badass jump master. I wanted advanced airborne. I wanted the black hats to come and evaluate me. I wanted them to.
Amen. Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, come on, come on. You might actually, I might teach you something. But those guys were great, you know, but still, and every time we got done with a jump, they did it right up and they give me all this hoo hoo ha ha. I don't care about that. So it got to a point that I was, and I don't brag or anything like that, Will, but it got to a point that every time a battalion was doing a mass tag, All American 6 and All Americans 9 would jump on it. Because, of course, they jumped Dash Run Bravos. We were still jumping the T-10 Charlies. Now, I'm going to go back to the
Right.
C-17 thing in a little bit. So,
Okay.
but every time they would jump with a battalion of mass attack, they would call my brigade and say, hey, we need Sergeant Campbell over here to be primary jump master, lead aircraft, the JMPI, the division commander, division sergeant major, and everywhere. That's all they wanted. They wanted me to do it. So I had a platoon as a platoon sergeant, but I was getting ganked all over the place. I mean, I never got a break other than jumping, jumping, jumping. But I mean, it was yeah. So when I was in second Eagle 5, they came up with the Master Jump Master course,
Right.
and I was just like, I want to do that. I want to do everything and anything when it comes to jump master community. I want to do that. And so what had happened when the Advanced Airborne School came up with the Master Jump Master course, the philosophy was this: each battalion had one Master Jump Master. His sole purpose was one to make sure all jump masters in the battalion stayed current and qualified. But we were an extension of Advanced Airborne School because there was just too much going on. They didn't have enough people to cover drops, to uh, give evaluations, to do all that stuff. So as a master jump master, I actually had the capability to relieve a jump master and say, "You're done. You're done." And I would take his door. I would take his aircraft. Bottom line. And I only had to do it one time. But it was a great course. It was only a week long, but they basically dissected the ASOP. They took the ASOP and they surgically dissected it to where they broke it down. I'll be honest, they broke it down to the third grade level. That's exactly what they did. And I'm glad they did that because it was just the way they presented it. I was just like, I like this. I like how this is rolling. I like it. So I became a master jump master and I was doing all that. And then I went to JRTC, which I had gone. I've been there 6, 7 times, jump master all the time. Um, Came back to JRTC, and on the chalkboard it said, "Sergeant Campbell, call branch." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I would go in my office right there, call branch, and branch said, "Yeah, you're on assignment. You're gonna be an OC." And I was like, "Where?" NTC. I was like, "What? Don't you mean JRTC? I'm a grunt. I'm an airborne ranger. You're gonna send me to NTC?" They sent me to NTC, and I was on the tarantula team, which is the only airborne team in the entire OC community.
Right.
So while I was a tarantula, um, every Thursday, after every rotation, every Thursday, we had to do a drop. We did a drop every Thursday after the rotation. Then we got a 4-day weekend. Everybody else was off. I jump mastered every daggone mission. And it really wasn't a mission. It was kind of like a fun jump. So it
Right.
was Hollywood. We were just doing for purposes. But we jumped to CH4. It was funny. I was a Pathfinder. So I was the only current Pathfinder that ever worked rotor wing aircraft. So I was the only Pathfinder that could call the drop. And they would do C-130s. That I would primary jump master and then jump. They did CH-47s. Of course, I didn't jump. I was on the ground calling the drop. And yeah, it was kind of crazy. But then we got a call one. We got called into a conference room, and six of us. We were only six jump masters in the team, and they said, "Hey, look, they got this new aircraft coming out. It's called C-17." I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard the vortex is collapsing parachutes. I understand that." They said, "Well, we're going to go down to Yuma, the test site, the test place, and we're gonna jump C-17s, and we're gonna try to figure out how long the static line needs to be to jump C-17 to get below the vortex." Because I know you've heard about that vortex of a C-17 with a normal static line. Well,
Yes, absolutely. I have heard about it. Yeah, tell me more.
okay, so we go to Yuma, we get there, and so they give us this brief, and so here's their concept. They have a 3 foot extension, like part of a static line with loops at each end. They would girth hitch, and right below the static line hook, and then it was just like it would look so like I don't think this is safe.
Right.
But I didn't. You got this thing, Will, 3 foot long, with static line material, and you're like freaking rigging this shit on both sides of the static line going, "Huh, we're good." And they had cameras, they had a chase plane film us. So we started jumping the C-17 with this crazy static line.
Yeah.
And but I will tell you, first off, this is really what irritated me. First off, we had to do it just with the normal parachute, normal static line, everything. They had to get a film of it. They had to see what the vortex was actually doing. And
Right.
I looked at the test dude and I said, "You know what, buddy? I give two frigs of what that vortex is doing. Because my life consider is more important. But you're going to put me out this C-17 already been determined is collapsing shoots with the regular static line. And you want us to do it again? But we got to have it on film." I just started going, "Oh, we all going to die." You know? But we did it. It wasn't bad. It was rough the first drop. Open shock the same. Everything, but still, just when you came out tight position, you immediately roll to the right. Immediately roll to the right, and you're looking down. That's what happened. That vortex is what it did, and you were looking down, going down, upside down. And when your chute deployed, it was already starting to twist. So then we started working with these different extensions of the static line. When we started with like a foot, and then we went to 2 feet, went to three, which is what worked out, and that's when it made the longest static line. And then we went to four. Problem with four, yes, it got you out the vortex, but by the time you got to 4,000, you were already 200 feet off the ground with a T10. So they were like, "Oh, that's too long." I said, "You think?" So we did that for a week. I got shitload of jumps out of a C-17 with that crazy static line forever. And then when I got done being an OC, I went back to Fort Bragg, and I was the first sergeant for Charlie Company 3004. And when I was there, I was up. It was right before 9/11. My battalion was on the Deer F1. Everything was packed, everything was good to go. Already had our palm, already had division inspectors come down and say everything's good. We were locked tight. So I'm sitting there. I had to go up, and me and my commander actually had to go up to division uh, and meet the division commander and division sergeant major, and we had a lot. Just about it's like a leadership training thing of what their expectations are in the 82nd as a leader, and that concept of captain and first sergeant. So we're sitting there, and they put the news on, and so General, be in a minute. We're watching the news, and all of a sudden we see planes crashing to the buildings. I'm like, oh. The first one, I thought maybe he got off course or something went wrong. But the second one, I said, nope, there's more to this. So, me being the deer of one, the general came in and said, everybody go back to your units and stand by. When I got back to the unit, they already had stuff out on the parade, the little gravel on the where you formed up every day. Grabbed my stuff and we're waiting. So they actually moved us there up one to to the CMA. And we sat there for like 2 weeks, waiting on the word, just waiting on it. But we never got it. But then about I deployed with division over there and trying to think when I left division, I went special. Two, I can't remember, to be honest with you. So we deployed to Iraq initially. Should be Afghanistan initially. Did our tour there. Got a groove on. Me as the first sergeant, I lost my soldiers. It's a very hard thing to do. When we came back, I got another assignment, and this is a SMU. I was a SMU, Special Missions Unit out of Hawaii, going to Vietnam, searching for a missing. I was on the Joint POW Task Force, and I was the only first sergeant in the Army that worked. My boss was a general officer. My raider, general officer. And I'm just like, how do I get picked with this? And he goes, you look at your file, you met the match. Congratulations. Did that for two right. Did that for 2 years. The problem was every 2 weeks out of the month I was gone. Did that, everything, but I want to get back to the airborne stuff. So came back, got orders. I want to go back to Fort Bragg. Went back to Bragg and they had me some bullshit job. I say, fuck this. I'm sorry. Can I say that?
Go for
Okay.
it. Your story.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to say nothing bad. So this special unit, and what's so funny, you can go on real podcast or something. You'll never hear about it. You won't find anything about it. Because I had tried out for Delta, went through selection, and after strip map day, I got dropped, which is the last thing you got to do before you get to do the 40. So I got dropped. Didn't finish the course, nothing like that. But because the way the conflict was going in Afghanistan and Iraq, it was all asymmetrical warfare. And that's using IEDs and stuff like that. It's any unconventional means to fight a conventional force. So they formed this unit, and CAG formed it initially, and that's Delta CAG. It's called the Asymmetrical Warfare Group. And everybody's like, "What is that? I never heard of that." I said, "That's how we like it. We don't want nobody to know what we do. We don't need nobody to know what we do."
Right.
So they formed a unit. I tried out. I put my shit in, and I said, "Hey, I'm interested." And I got selected to go through selection. And the selection course was a combination of SF, CAG, and SAS. It was all three combined. Got selected. I'm a plank holder. I'm member number 3. Stood up the unit, and then I deployed.
Oh, wow.
By myself.
Okay.
Not with a group of people, just me.
All right.
So, in a nutshell, I went to Iraq 8 times. I went to Afghanistan 6 times. But I was with the Asymmetric Warfare Group. I was a team leader, troop commander, and a squadron command sergeant major.
Wow.
So after my Asymmetric Warfare Group kind of parted, I needed a brigade. That's what I needed. So I called every resource I knew on Fort Bragg. Can y'all get me into a brigade? First, second, because Fort Bragg is a four brigade division now.
Right.
Yeah, because they got the 508. Because I've been in the '04, '05, 325, and the '08. So I've been in all of them. Nobody had a slot for me at Fort Bragg. Nobody. So I called Branch. I said, what do I do? They said, well, you want to go back to NTC? I said, not really. You know, well, I want to go to a Dust Bowl. Well, you can take over the group down there. So I said, fine, I need a brigade. So I left the special side and went back into the big army. And I was a group command sergeant major. And that's where I retired as. That's the group command sergeant major.
Amen. Amen.
Yes,
What
sir.
was it what was it like becoming a leader? Did you find like becoming a sergeant was something that came easy for you? Were you okay backing your men and their mistakes? Tell me about that. Like I'll give you an example. For me, I was power hungry in a way. I was young, and miss some of the nuances of being a leader. Tell me about
Like,
your experience.
okay, I you're gonna freak out on this one. Um, I wanted to be a leader. I was a leader as an E4 in the first Gulf War. I was a team leader. And I knew here I am, we get my second conflict, and now I'm in charge of a fire team as an E4. And my every leadership position I've ever went into, I always focused on the next one. That's what you do. You get promoted, now you're promoted, now you start focus on the next rank, but your first priority is your men. So as an E5, young E5 in division, I loved it. I loved it to death. I loved it. I remember being on drop zone sometimes at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, battalion mass tack, you hit, and the rule of the Elgops, right? When you got to get to your assembly area, we had this. I don't know if you remember it well, but the bullshit Steinerade,
Oh yeah.
that big ass pole, and
Yeah.
someone had to jump it, and it came
Right.
like A company it was ridiculous, and I made they wanted me to jump it. I like, oh hell no, XO, you jumping this shit. So, but as an E5, I loved it. I loved it. I've always I don't know leadership attributes have always been something I've had. I mean, I'm not bragging or anything. I just knew how to take care of people. I knew my job. That's the big one. I knew the rules and regulations. I knew how to do infantry uh, stuff as far as tactics to what is expected. Like back in the day, we had RTEPs. You know, we don't know RTEPs no more. But I knew that what the RTEP required. I knew what each battle drill required, and that's how I trained my men. And I trained them hard. I did the same. I would tell my guys, look, I'm going to be hard, but fair. And I said, that's how I've done my whole career. So E6, same way. E7, same way. First sergeant, I would tell my company every morning, I love you guys, but don't disappoint me. They
Right.
would just,
Right.
they would look at me like, oh no, first sergeant, I'm going to disappoint you. Okay, just don't. And when I made Sergeant Major, I made Sergeant Major 16 years.
Amen. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean it's not a congratulations. I mean Sergeant Major is 16, Command Sergeant Major is 17. Which yeah, it's great. Uh, money's good, but now what?
Right.
That's why I'm glad I was special when these things happen. But as a young NCO in division, I think the most important thing was first off, as you said, you're a little power hungry. Don't be power hungry. Understand no
Right.
non-commissioned officer in any element has power or authority. We do and we don't. That power and authority, that power base is given by the company commander or the first officer in chain of command. That's where you get your power base. You know, other than that, you can go to your officer, lieutenant, captain, colonel, general, and bitch all you want and say all you want. He's got the final word, bottom line, because they establish your power base.
Right.
So you gotta listen and learn. You gotta be observant, and first and foremost, you gotta take care of your boys. You gotta take care of your men. Now you put their life and safety ahead of you, because one thing when I was a command sergeant major, I would tell my guys, uh, I said, look, you might have to one day order someone to their death. They're like, what? I said, yeah. When you tell that fire team, it's your squad leader, you tell that fire team, hey, Alpha team, go ahead and secure a breach in that building. You just might have sent that team to their death. But you know what? They're going to do exactly what you said because they trust you. You have trained them properly. And that's a big piece. Just like now, we're changing the way the Army considers training. They don't do task, condition, standards no more. It's outcome based training. Here's what we're looking for. This is the outcome. Okay, this is what we want right here. Outcome. When we achieve this outcome, we're done. So I'm going to give you up here. Here's what we're doing. This is the outcome. And if you need advice or anything in the middle, you just ask. But the task, condition, standards, yeah, that went out the woodwork after Iraq and Afghanistan, because it didn't make sense. To be honest with you, task, condition, standards. I mean, yeah, you get your tasks, conditions, and your standards. Well, if you go outcome, it's basically kind of the same thing, but it's not. If you go to a range, you got your whole unit at a range. They got to get qualified, right? Everybody's got to get qualified. Well, is that realistic? No, it's not realistic at all. Someone's not going to qualify. Happens every time. And you can't take someone who can't qualify, throw them over there under a pine tree in the shade and say, do down wash it. Come on, man. We've advanced in our training focus. And that's a good thing. So, you want to talk about my combat jump?
Yeah, talk about it. Tell me all about it.
All right, Will. Let's talk about that combat jump. So, they came and got me at the hospital. Got locked up in that. We got put in the PHA. And then you knew it was real. This ain't no bullshit. So here I am. I'm a E3. Just had a baby. I'm sitting there, saw gunner. And they come in and our song at that time when I was in the military in 89, we had Vietnam vets still in our platoon and companies. My battalion commander, Colonel Marable the Terrible. He was a Vietnam vet. Sergeant Major Hogarth, Vietnam vet. Colonel Nix. I don't know if he's a Vietnam vet or not. I don't know. But anyhow, so we're in there and they said, okay, we're going to start drawing ammo. And they give you this card. And my card says M249 gunner. I said, okay. All right. So I walk through the line. So they're handing me like magazine. I mean, 5.56 for a magazine, because you can't put a magazine inside. You can put it in from the side.
Right.
So they give me like 210 rounds of this shit. I have no magazines. I'm a saw gunner. But give me this bandolier. They give me 12 saw drums. 12.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then I go, now they're throwing me star clusters, a couple of hand grenades, some smoke grenades. I had an AT. No, that was only hit the PZ. And we went down this line, and I had all this shit, and I'm like, ain't no damn way. Ain't no damn way in hell when I pack all this, I'm gonna be able to even stand up.
Right.
Anyhow, I got it all packed. Well, everything was in my ruck. Um, I put my saw on my 1950 when we were starting to rig up. I could put one drum in it, not on the saw. I could put it right there. There was an indentation on the saw. I could put it right there and sew my 1950, my saw 1950 up. So I get on my shit, and they didn't want to do an in-flight rig. They did not want to do it. They wanted us to be rigged, and we were going to fly all the way down to Panama on these C-141s in the ice storm with all this shit on us. Like,
Yep.
we're going to go, yeah, we're not taking, you're not doing in-flight rig. So I grabbed my ruck. Well, I could barely lift my ruck up. Okay, at that point in time, I weighed about 120 pounds soaking wet. I'm serious. My ruck weighed easy 180 pounds. Easy.
Right.
So I get that. So for all that shit to fit in my ruck, I had to completely empty it out with the exception of one thing. What do you think that one thing was?
I can't even imagine a whoopee.
Yes.
There you go.
You cannot go anywhere without the whoopee.
Right.
That's God's gift to the grunt. Yep.
There
So
you go.
it's time for me to get JMPI, right? And I got my ruck and I bent down. I'm like, can't. I said, nope. I just stand there with my hands in the back of my head going, jump master comes over. Okay, I'm gonna hook your ruck up. And he went down to grab it. He's like, God damn. I said, yeah. He goes, okay, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna JMPI you. And then we're gonna walk this to the aircraft and we're gonna hook this shit up in the aircraft when I sit you down.
Yeah.
I said, thank you. So I get on the aircraft. I'm jumper number, I was outboard. No, I was inboard jumper number 27. Yeah, 27. And then,
Oh,
so I'm sitting there, jump master comes, hooks this shit up, runs the lower line through my shit. We didn't jump reserve. There's no reason to. You didn't
right.
have time. You didn't have time to activate it.
Right.
So I get on the bird and we fly. There we go. And finally we get a 20-minute warning. And I wake up. I can't feel my legs. Well, this humongous cluster of weight has been on my legs for about 16 hours.
Right.
I can't feel them. I mean, I'm like, can we turn around and go back to Walmart? I mean, can you drop me off? Actually, just let me out the door, lay in the parking lot, and I'll waddle in there because I can't feel my legs. So, boom, green light comes on, and there we go. You see the Rangers blowing up the terminal, shooting all that shit up. You see shit going up all over the place. You know, you get out at 500 feet, open a shop, lower your equipment, boom, you're on the ground. And all things that could have happened, I hit the tarmac
Oof.
like a sack of shit, Will.
Oof.
And it broke the frame of my damn ruck.
Oh no.
Yes. And all I knew as a private, just had a kid, because we all knew the rule of LGOS. We all knew what that meant.
Right.
People would grab people, say, you come, let's get in a wedge. And when you see your fucking assembly area, go to it. So I look at my ruck, frame's cracked. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? All I knew was when you see the terminal on the right, go left. We'll be out there somewhere. We'll be out there somewhere. Somewhere.
Right.
I said, where the hell somewhere? You know? Can you give me just a little bit more details? Maybe just a little. And but I found it. And I got there. And I take my rug and I go, and my squatter runs over to me. Joe Sadak. one of my mentors. Joe runs over to me. He goes, Kim, you okay? You good to go? Yeah, you all right? You all right? I said, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But my frame of my ruck broke. He said, don't worry about it. We're not taking rucks on the mission. I said, great. But I knew I had to get shit out of my ruck, put on my salt pouches. I threw three pouches on my back, and then we took off by helicopters at first light to our objective, which was Tinahitas. Now, my company, we lost 2 paratroopers and 17 wounded. We were the most wounded and loss of anybody in the invasion. Anybody. We also landed. We didn't land. It was the first hot LZ since Vietnam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Oh yeah. We had a pilot got shot in the head. My buddy that died, Denson, was shot in the aircraft. I was a saw gunner, so they put all saw gunners on the outside of the aircraft where the legs hanging over with a daggone strap.
Right.
We're just flying through these jetos, 10 houses and stuff. And the PDF are shooting at us with AKs. So I said, fuck this. I shot back. I just started. I don't know what I hit. I don't know if my saw bullets probably went through that 10. I ain't worried about it. But we're coming to the LZ, and he hovers. We're like 30 feet off the ground. And he's getting banged up, helicopter. They're like, you got to go. I said, no, I'll go when you get a little bit low. Because I ain't jumping on this damn thing this high. Well, they didn't get no lower. So out we go. Get on the PZ, and here's all this shit. 18-4 over here, a couple of Claymore. People just dropping shit. Here I go. I got a saw. 6 saw guns. I throw an 18-4 on my back. I grab a Claymore. Throw that on my back. And then we start the movement. Yeah, it was a long day. Because Tinahitas was on top of a mountain. Rough day. But I got a combat jump out of it. I'm good to go. I've been in lots of conflicts. Being a paratrooper taught me how to be tough. It taught me that, we're shock troopers. That's what we do. We jump on top of you. The next thing you know, Rule the LGOPs are the most terror of your life is about to happen. And that's what we are as airborne, as paratroopers.
It's absolutely amazing to think about those times and describe ourselves as the hellions that we were. Yeah, it's tough to portray yourself as a marauder. It's tough to portray yourself
Yeah.
as someone that brought mayhem, because at a certain age you become granddad. At a certain age you become someone that's it's weird how that works.
Yeah.
The other thing that was amazing to me is how you describe, because I have a little piece of ribbon that my country gave me, that makes it all worthwhile, right? It's like, well, I got my star, I got my, whatever. Isn't that does that strike you? Remember, Napoleon said, with just a little bit of ribbon, I can rule the world, right?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about what that makes you feel like as you look back on that, as you look back on your life. You got to, in a way, you got to be proud. I know I am proud,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I answered my nation's call in a
Yes.
way that was, I did my best. I promise you, I did my best by my men. I did my best by my family as best I could. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, Will. So I'm going to talk about the combat jump start first, and we're going to talk about the men piece. So
Okay.
the combat jump start, it means so much to me. It's tattooed on my chest right here.
Oh, wow.
To me, it wasn't like it was my job. That's why we're paratroopers.
Right.
And the war drum was beaten. We got the word. And I was fortunate to be part of that mission. The loss of life and wounded, I mean, that just comes with the territory. But I am proud of it. I'm very proud of it because jumping from 500 feet with a T-10, C-141 aircraft. You know, every aircraft that did the drop had at least 27 bullet holes in it. Every single C-141. And yeah, I am very proud of it because, you know, when we came back, I was young. You know, like I said, I was at E3, just had a child. Yeah, 1st Brigade, we had bragging rights up and down the street. But like, look what I got. What you got? You know, I've been tested. You've been tested? That's why people ask me, how many jumps you got? 1. Everything else was everything else was practices.
It's neat to be able to have that attitude. Tell me about what it was like to be part of a mission where you were losing soldiers. Did that
Uh,
affect you? Was that something that you were like, oh my gosh, I just, I lost my, yeah, I don't know. Tell me about that.
Okay, so reality, we got the word we had lost 2 soldiers as we were doing the assault up the mountain, the security needed us. The next day, um, I was part of the team that went down to the PZ to recover Private Specialist Denson's body. And we went down the mountain. We found it. We got to the PZ, and there he is. And I'm not going to go into detail how he looked or anything. There's no problem. But we got his body, recovered it. You know, never leave a soldier behind. Bottom
Right.
line. We recovered his body, got him up back, finally back up the hill. It took forever because we had to stop and rest because that hill was ridiculous. And Tina got Denson up there. It was like in the compound there because it was like we hit our objective was the first Tiger company. It was on top of this mountain. They're the ones that mortared us at night and everything, but they had like a side room with a bed and everything, I guess where the commander slept or whatever. So that's where they put Denson. And that's when the reality kicked in that this is war. I mean, this is a conflict. You know, this happened. And that's when you look at it like, wow, you know, 48 hours ago, me and Denson were talking in the PHA at Fort Bragg,
Right.
you know, and now he's been killed. He's been killed by the bad guys. And yeah, it'll bring a lot of things into perspective, Will, that how conflicts are. And then the thing is, you know, after that, like I told you, I rolled right into the first Gulf War 8 months later.
Right.
And then, you know, after that, I went to Bosnia, Rwanda. And then after that, I went to Iraq and Afghanistan a shitload of times. And then when I retired, I went back over as a contractor for 8 years.
So you described firing your saw out
Yes.
the aircraft.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you remember firing your weapon in combat?
Oh, yeah, because it was the first time I have ever been in combat. And
Right.
the door gunners of the Blackhawks, they put all of us saw gunners. We were all in the door.
Right.
There was 3 of us. And they put the strap. The door gunner said, "Hey, if I fire, you fire." I said,
Amen.
"No problem." You
Right.
know, he started lighting shit up. You know, he's got a 7.6 too. That's what he's shooting. I
Right.
got 5.56.
Right.
He starts blaring, and I'm just like, I'm looking because I'm just not gonna blare to blare. You know, I'm not gonna do something like that. But
Right.
when I can see the guy with AK-47 down on the ground as we're screaming these Blackhawks to our PZ,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I started lighting people up.
Oh wow.
You know, I mean, that's it was my job though, and you know, a lot of people don't understand that. That's what we train for. But we
That's
do our
so
yeah. Go ahead.
that's so Vietnam War kind of rolling in. I'm telling you, dude, that was wild, wild west what we did in
Yes,
Panama. If I'm honest with you,
yes,
it was friggin' crazy to hear some of the stories, right?
yes, sir.
Joe Hafner talks about some of the stories, of what they were doing over there. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Okay, so you know after, of course, after the drop, after we secured our objective, then we pushed out. And every day, so we didn't have no 113s. We didn't have, we had, okay, we still have the Sheridans in, okay?
Right.
And they dropped 4 Sheridans in to Just Cause. One of them hit a swamp, and they had to blow it in place because they couldn't get out.
Oh no.
That's a fact. Engineers had to go in there and blow that thing in place because they could not get it out of the mud. It was like half under a swamp. Well, we had one assigned to us, but once we got on the objective, then we called, and they sent us a Sheridan.
Okay.
The road was so steep, the Sheridan couldn't get all the way up.
Oh, no.
So as this damn jalopy of a tank, hey, it's a tank, it's a 155, yeah. You can airdrop it, but its armor's like styrofoam covered with aluminum.
Right.
So
Right.
we hear the Sheridan coming up. And he gets there's one point in that walk where it kind of does this. And it gets real steep for just a second. Well, that steep killed it.
Oh,
It
no.
overheated and locked that engine up. Funny as hell. I mean, it did. It that killed the Sheridan.
Oh, wow.
But all his instruments worked, his gun worked. So we basically said, hey, look, dude, I didn't say it. If I was a private, NCO was like, okay, here's the deal. You're just going to turn around. You're going to point it down the hill where the gate is, and that's like, there you go. Because you can't move, can't do shit. And, but yeah, we started going around the down into the village, not the village, but into the town, doing checkpoints, looking for PDF hangouts, looking to see if we could add any that was, hiding somewhere or anything like that. And we did that for about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and then that was it. They finally got Noriega, and they pulled us off, and we got relieved by 7th ID, which were like they come walking up with their reggae helmets, and we're like 7th ID. I said, well, why y'all here? We're here to secure this. They were like, we're here to secure this objective. Oh, you here to secure the objective? Hey, we secured this bitch fucking 2 weeks ago. Where you been? So yeah, man. So they came up, relieved us. We let me back up a second. We were doing the patrols around the city and stuff. Like I said, we didn't have no M113s, no up armor, nothing like that. So we stole 2 dump trucks. Oh, okay. Make myself clear. We acquired 2 dump trucks,
Right.
and that was armor personnel carriers.
I love it.
We put a squad in each one, and we'd be up. I always had to be up on the front of it because I was a assault gunner, up there in
Right.
case somebody want to get stupid. And that's how we rolled. We rolled in dump trucks.
Amen.
And then, 8 months later, rolled right into the Gulf War. And that was, yeah, the Gulf War. Yeah, I'm trying to find the right word to say. That was a fiasco, especially with the 82nd.
Yeah.
Because I was at Champion, Maine. That's where I was at. And that's where Champion, Maine was where division was at. And we secured a warehouse and had the entire task force, battalion task force. We're talking artillery. We're talking, of course, that's infantry. We're talking in everything. The whole task force was in this big ass warehouse. And we were there for like groundwork started in. We got there in August. Anyhow, we were there until the groundwork was getting ready to start, and that was just a lot of just sitting and waiting, sitting and
Right.
waiting, sitting and waiting, and you're just like, come on now, we're better than this. And then when they started doing the plan, the source stuff, right? All the generals got together. They actually had thought of doing a jump. And they were thinking that if they could put a brigade drop, 3 battalions, if they could drop a battalion at this location and do a blocking position as everybody came around to that left hook to push rack IQ8, they could do it. Well, they're sitting there talking about if that does happen. And of course, they call them Ninja Nicks. Ninja Nicks goes, hey, needs to be a my brigade. My brigade's already done a combat jump. We've already tested. Well, the 05 commander called bullshit. And he goes, well, you got to share the fucking wealth. And I'm like, what? So they almost got in a damn fight. That's where Ninja Nicks got his nickname of Ninja Nicks. He was just like, hey, he's like, we're doing the drop. But the drop never came because Schwarzkopf didn't want to risk it. He thought every aircraft could blow out the sky.
Right. It's interesting to think about, doing a modern paratroop drop in a place that you don't have absolute air superiority.
None. We did, well, Panama defense, they really didn't have. Are you talking about the Gulf War or Panama? Gulf War.
I was talking about jumping into Gulf War. Panama, we rule that area.
The Gulf War was this. We could have done it, the drop, but the problem was with the first Gulf War, the Iraqis, they had 27-4s, they had 57-2s, they had all the anti-aircraft stuff. They had it on the ground. Yeah. The problem was when the invasion was getting ready to start, we crossed the border, all their leadership ran. They took off to Baghdad. They left their soldiers out there hanging, and they knew they did. So when we got there, you can't get nobody to fight us.
Right.
I mean, I was hoping somebody throw a fucking rock at me. Something. I'm serious.
It is an interesting thing. There's a lot of people that when you talk about Gulf War combat, they're talking about, well, the biggest thing I saw in combat was trying to figure out what to do with all the people that were surrendering,
Exactly. And, I was handing out ham slices right and left from my MRE. I figured, hey, here you go. Take it, eat it.
You become a humanitarian. You realize
you can be condemned to hell, but eat it.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this asymmetric warfare stuff. Tell me about that.
All right. So the asymmetric warfare group, and I'm member number 3. I'm a plane holder. I was there when the unit started up. When Iraq and Afghanistan was getting hot and heavy, the special ops community, like CAG, which is Delta, and DevGru, which is SEAL Team 6, and I did some work with SEAL Team 3 and 4. I knew Chris Cow, but anyhow, doesn't matter. They were too busy going after HVTs. That's high value targets. They didn't have time to deal with the asymmetric philosophy of the war, because you got to understand the battlefield is 3-dimensional. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
So that falls into the asymmetric gap. So CAG said, hey, we're going to form this unit. Okay. Our recruiters are going to run the recruiting element at first, and then we'll pass it off once the unit's formed, the unit's up and running. And we need this unit to be from selected personnel that are, we need E7s and we need E8s and E9s. We need professionals. We need someone that can walk up to a general officer and say what he's got to say.
Right.
So my buddy that was in CAG called me and said, hey, he goes, hey, man, we're forming this unit and you fit the criteria. I said, you should submit. So I did. I said, okay, I'll do it. Because I've always wanted to go that route. Like I said, I went to Ranger school and I got my tab, whatever. And so I put my application in. I was the first one selected to go to the assessment. went through assessment. I was the first one boarded and accepted into the unit. And of course, I'm member number 3 for various reasons, but it's very interesting. And we work, first off, nobody heard of us. Nobody knows us. I mean, you can go on a podcast, you're going to go on Reels or whatever. You're not going to see anything about us. You can see shit about Delta, you can see shit about the sales. You're not going to see anything about us because we work as single 10 operators. We were considered field team operators. And my specialty was, of course, the IED aspect, but I was also a sniper counter sniper with the asymmetric warfare group. And I would go around when you had recon teams, sniper teams that could not get the upper hand. I would go there and say, okay, let's go on a mission and see what you're doing wrong. But what we did basically was we wouldn't go to units that were being successful. We would go to units that were not being successful
Right.
and make them successful.
Amen.
I will tell you this, never forget. I was in Romani was basically my hunting ground. That's where I met Chris. I did some work with SEAL Team 3 and SEAL Team 4. But Colonel McDonald, we're getting ready to do Operation Winchester. That's when we're going to take over Ramadi, take it back. And I got a call saying, hey, Colonel McDonough wants to see. He was a brigade commander at the time for the brigade task force that was trying to secure Ramadi. So I go up there and I'm special. My hair's long and my uniform's different, kind of. And I walk up there and first thing, and I don't wear my rank at that time. No patches, no rank, no nothing. And I keep my rank under my collar on the Velcro. And I walk up and the brigade command sergeant major stops and he goes, who the hell are you? I say, Michael Campbell, how you doing? And brigade commander wants to talk to me. Well, you're not going to go talk to him looking like that. And I said, Sergeant Major, you don't want to go here, man. Just don't go here. Please don't do it. I want to go talk to the brigade commander. He wants to talk to me. And I said, we can do show and tell if you want to. He looked at me like, what? I reached out my collar, boom, put it on my chest, Command Sergeant Major. I said, so how you want to play, bro? What you want to do? What's your class number? I'm 56. What you? He just looks at me. I said, Sergeant Major, I just going to go see your boss. That's all I'm going to do. He asked me to come here. So he's like, I'm sorry, Sergeant Major, blah, blah. I said, you ain't got to be sorry, man. I respect you. You want Sergeant Major does. And I know. Thank God we ain't got no damn grass around here. So I go and see Colonel McDonough. He looks at me and he goes, so on Operation Winchester, who you going to be working with? I said, SEAL Team 3. He goes, okay. He said, I got just one requirement, one request. I said, what's that, sir? Be the calmness of the storm. I was like, all right, I can do that. Yeah, that's not a weight. So I walked out of his office, time for dinner, went and ate some dinner, went back to my hooch, my compound there, and I went to my room. And I just sat there thinking, be the calmness of the storm. Okay. That's what he wants, that's what he gets. In Operation Winchester, we went without a hitch. I mean, it was some people got hurt and wounded and stuff, but we had to take over Ramadi and start putting those cops in, those combat outposts. And that was the whole purpose of it. But Ramadi, Fallujah, that was Indian country. Straight ass Indian country. And everywhere I went by myself. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, as you think about those days and those nights, what was it that kept you going, through the tough times? Is there they say there's no atheist in foxholes. Is there some type of a spirit that keeps you pushing forward? Some kind of something that causes you to want to accomplish your missions?
Well, first off, it's a test of fortitude.
Right.
And the second part is the Ranger Creed. Though I be the lone survivor.
Amen. 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 It's neat to be able to look to those kinds of things as a guiding light, right?
Yes.
Those kinds of things that you say, I made this oath and I plan to keep it, and there's no reason that I am abandoning it now.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Integrity is my watchword. And I took that oath that I would support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Right there. That this simple sentence is what I will tell you. This will keeps me going.
Amen.
And I was especially in the military. I mean, I would sit back and there's been times, exhausted. You're just like on your last leg. And then you just got to reach down inside. That's where that test of fortitude comes from. Reach down inside. You got to grasp it. You got to hang on to it. You got to run with it. And because when I wasn't about to let anybody down. I was not about to lose, even though loss of life in war happens. But I wasn't about to do something that would jeopardize the safety or life of somebody that I was working with. Because to me, that's someone's son. They have a mom and dad at home. My job, if I'm working with you and I'm the rankest guy here, I'm going to ensure you get to go home and see your parents and not in the box.
Right.
I mean, that's just how I look at it. I took my job very serious, very damn serious. I didn't give two shits about my rank. I could not care less about being a sergeant major, command sergeant major. I don't care. When I'm told to do something, I'll do it.
Right.
Got a big when the brigade commander tells you be the calmest of a damn storm. For a brigade, I'm like, okay, no problem.
Amen.
I will be successful.
Amen. It's neat to watch great leaders lead. Who did you serve with that you considered to be a great leader to you? Do you remember some folks?
Oh hell yeah. I got my mentors. Let me tell you. My first squad leader, Joe Sadak, great guy. Uh, he got out. He had some problems at the end, so he had to get out. But he wasn't my squatter after they had moved him. I got first Sergeant Duhan, Sergeant Major Duhan. He's passed away now, but he was a mentor. Sergeant Major Hogarth, my battalion Sergeant Major. He's in the movie. He's in the book Charlie Rangers. Let's see, Colonel Joe Anderson, which retired as a General Joe Anderson, is my battalion commander. Regimental Sergeant Major, retired Gary Kalinowski. He's actually my son's godfather. I've got, seems like all my leaders, like General Clark, he was my battalion commander. Scott Perotti, he was my battalion commander. All my leaders became generals. It's just amazing, you know.
Did you
And
miss Kosovo?
is that?
Did you miss Kosovo or did you go to Kosovo?
No, I didn't go to Kosovo. I did
So
not go.
Kalinowski and Anderson, I went to Kosovo with those guys. They
Yep.
were 2505.
Yep. That's where I was 2505 when we went in place, and I got sent from 25. I got sent to NTC. I missed
Oh,
it. No,
oh,
you won't. Okay. I'm not gonna say this. It's concerning Kalinowski's son. So
yeah. Yeah, I would love to interview Kalinowski. I love the guy. He was a great mentor
oh
to me.
yeah, he is an incredible mentor, and we have gotten together many times. And yeah, he's just incredible.
Make
Another one is of course Colonel Austin, which was the Sec Dev. I got you got to know this guy, Saul Major Thorpe.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what you doing over there? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
made the Thorpe. I got a funny story for Thorpe. Let me tell you this funny story. So I was the first sergeant. Thorpe was my brigade, my brigade sergeant major. Did the drop. Of course, CG and the sergeant major's over here. So we do the drop, and I'm on the ground. There's this Avenger, okay? It's Avenger. The chute didn't open. And this Avenger is halfway in the ground on Sicily.
Right.
And there's Sergeant Major Thorpe. Bitching. I'm got my ruck on, I'm getting ready to take off to my assembler. And as I get ready to go, he goes, "Hey, who over there?" And I said, Sergeant Major, First Sergeant Campbell. Come here. I go over there. He goes, "This is exactly what he said. See that right there? That's why we ain't got no training dollars." I'm like, "Okay, Sergeant Major, can I?" He goes, "What are you doing here? Go to your ship." I said, "You told me to come over here." Sergeant Major Thorpe was incredible. He was incredible. But that Avenger, I mean, I never seen something that got dug in the dirt that bad because nothing open. Nothing. Absolutely nothing open.
So, so I was an air defense guy, and I remember those days when we had the event
Ooh.
in. So yeah. That was my unit. It wasn't my Avenger, but it was definitely my unit. It's neat. You were talking about the Master Jump Master course
Yeah.
and all that stuff earlier. I'm the guy. Me and Dan Bennett put that Master Jump Master course together. He came to me and he said we need to do this, and I'm like okay. And so I wrote all that, the whole period of instruction and all the things.
Yeah.
The comprehensive written exam, and I was one of the instructors. It's really neat
Awesome.
to hear you talk such great things about that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I loved it. When I got called down to battalion and I was told, "Hey, you're going to the Master Jump Master Corps." First off, I was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about."
Yeah.
And because that's what I want. I wanted, when I do something, I need to do all of it, and I need to do it all right, and I need that, don't cut corners. But when I heard about the Master Jump Master course, and I think I got my ticket over there. I was like one of the first classes, and I was like, everybody in my class were like, "Is there any way we can show that we are Master Jump Masters?" And it never went nowhere. But I put my 120, 200 and something jumps. I do have Centurion wings,
I
which are
love it.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
Centurions are cool. Yeah, pretty cool. But Master Jump Master School. Let me tell you, it's just a week. But like I said earlier, they dissect the ASOP. They break it down. You know where to find anything at any time, no problem. And you also know, you know, in the 82nd, the ASOP's the law. Bottom line, that's the law. The only person that can override something the ASOP says is a division commander. That is the only person. And it is in the back of the book. It is there. He's the only motherfucker who can do it. Nobody else? And if you can't, and I used to tell jump masters and stuff, if you can't read, let me know. I can get a fucking braille version. We're gonna get you to understand this fucking ASOP.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So as we begin to close this out,
Okay.
one of the questions I want to talk to you about is the teams you built. I know,
Okay.
especially like a NTC OC,
Yes.
you spent a lot of time on the radio with the ear dick in your ear, talking all kinds of crazy stuff, built all kinds of cool teams. I was a OC at JRTC. And then one of the things before we close out, I want you
All
to
right.
call your unit to attention and then salute and, like sign out, like, however, that's kind of a tradition that we have coming on. It's really been a great time hanging out with you.
It's been great, Will. It has been great.
Yeah.
It
Tell me
really
about some of
has.
those teams you're a part of.
Was that?
Tell me about some of those teams you've been a part of. Maybe it's the
All right.
asymmetric, maybe the tarantula team, or
Well, of
I don't
course,
know some of that stuff.
I was, of course, when you say teams, I was a team leader. with Bravo Company, 3rd Platoon, 1st Eagle Forward. I was a team. I was a platoon sergeant, 2nd Eagle 5. I was in Italy. I was a squad leader, weapon squad leader, and platoon sergeant. And now with Asymmetric Warfare Group. Okay, so I was started out as a team lead, and I was a field operator, and then I was a troop sergeant major for my troop, and then I became a squadron command sergeant major, which I mean it was just we were just laid back. We were doing things, and nobody knew who the hell we were.
Right.
General Petraeus knew who we were, and we had free access. I mean, to go anywhere, just to bounce. We could go anywhere in a theater operation. We had priority flights, everything. So when I was, let's go back to Asymmetric Warfare Group. When I was uh, a team leader, and I was actually a team sergeant major before I took over a troop sergeant major, because I was a team sergeant major, 4-man team, and well, 5 was when we got our 18 Delta medic, but normally we didn't get them.
Right.
But formulating that team, because we went through selection assessment, we got selected, and then we go through like a 3-month OTC. Because I call it OTC, Cat hated it, but the OTC instructors down at Fort Bragg would come up and they ran our OTC,
Okay.
our shooting course. I mean everything, and then when I would deploy, we would never deploy as a team. I'd go by myself. He'd go by himself. We all went by ourselves, and then we meet in the middle. That's just how we played it.
Right.
And because we didn't want nobody to know anything about us, and people still don't know who the hell we are. And now the unit is being deactivated.
Oh, really?
Yes, the unit got deactivated, and so in the team perspective, yeah, I mean every uh, formula of soldiers that I dealt with, it was always a team environment. So the camaraderie was always there. The training was, because I trained them hard. I mean, I trained these guys to death. And because, to be honest with you, I trained them so hard. Like I said, I would always tell them hard but fair. I trained them so hard because I know your mom and dad or whatever have entrusted you for me to take care of you.
Right.
And that's how I looked at it. I looked at it that way, and I bent over backwards because I'm like, hey, nobody's dying on my watch. It ain't happening. I mean, it did happen, but I mean, some things you just can't help.
Right. Right.
But hey, I loved it. I love what I did. The 82nd was such a blessing. I loved it. Got my combat jump with him. I got my CLB. Now I got a CLB with a star in it with the gold reef, because now you've got an EIB. You can get a CLB, you get a little gold reef saying, hey. So, yeah, I can't complain. Feel good.
I love it. I
Yep.
love it. Well, let's close it out. Why don't you do me a favor and call your unit to attention, and then sign out for me.
All right, I retired as a group command sergeant major. So
All
I'm
right.
going to call my group to attention
Amen.
and just say fall out. Ready?
Sounds good.
Group attend. Hunt. Fall out.
Amen. Amen.
And this is Command Sergeant Major Campbell signing off.
Yay! That was fun, man. That was good, dude. That's really good. That's a lot of fun. It's cool to, listen to your stories, and you're a total hero, man. Thank you for your service to our country, and those long nights and
Yes.
road marches and jumps and leading soldiers. It's really valuable. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For everybody watching, I would like to take an opportunity to let you know about the donors. We have basic donors. You give one time. Thank you for your donors. I appreciate it. We have senior donors that give over time or, in a recurring way. And then we have our master rated donor program. Those are special guys, special access. Thank you so much for our master rated donors. We really appreciate it. Sergeant Major Campbell, dude, thank you so much. I appreciate everything. I love you, buddy. Signing off, everybody.
Signing off.
Marshall in the middle.